Welcome back to Junkin' with Junior, folks. We bought ourselves another project. Just can't stay away from these things. I kind of got a thing for, you know, fixing up stuff that doesn't run, making it run and drive again. It's pretty cool. So this old Jewel 1990 GMC regular cab short bed, the one that everybody loves because they just look good. So classic tough old truck. Bought this one in not running condition, believe it or not, because there's some parts hanging down here. Someone has already dropped the gas tank in this truck because they said it needed a fuel pump, and they definitely did it the hard way. They left the sending unit attached and pulled it out of the gas tank and just left it hanging there and was going to put a new pump on it. We're not doing it that way. We've got a whole new module that we're going to put in that thing, disconnect the lines like you should, and then bolt the tank and everything back up, and then we can hook the lines back up and make it a much easier process. So she's a Jewel fixer-upper. You know, this thing's so fast it's blow the chrome right off the bumper, but little stuff here and there. Main thing, we're going to get it up and running first, make sure that the engine's good, transmission's good. Does have a 700 R4, so that's always a plus. And since it has the factory TBI on the engine, that means that no one's had to monkey with the linkage for the TV cable on the transmission. So I've got a good feeling that the transmission's not smoked. The fluid in the transmission did smell good. Engine oil looks good. Coolant looks good in it. So we got a lot of good stuff going our way on this one. So we're going to get started with this fuel pump and see where it leads to and what we have to fix next on this truck. We got our truck set up on the budget 2-post lift here. These are the ones that you can get real cheap online that all your buddies talk about that they already have, but we're on a budget around here, folks. We ain't got no lift. We're doing it the hard way. Just wanted to climb under here, take a look and see what we're getting into. So they left that rear strap just hanging, nuts there, or excuse me, the bolts there that screws into the frame. That'll be easy on that end. Fuel filter's all in place. Lines are just hanging, so we're gonna go ahead and unscrew these lines right up here to make it easier, because we have the whole new sending unit to get rid of this entire rusted piece of junk. I'm sure that sending unit for the gauge doesn't work. We're gonna fix all that stuff. So let's get started with the tank. Surprisingly, the gas tank is pretty clean inside, no major trash. The baffle's still mostly intact. There's our new sending unit. We're going to get that put in there. And one thing to remember, folks, when working on these late 80s, early 90s trucks, you better have a good set of metric and American wrenches on hand. Now, whoever took this out, they had the pleasure of doing it laying on their back just like I do. For some reason, this thing is completely twisted, so quarter turn, we're gonna take that and beat that back out straight. And the other thing they did, they took these pressed in nuts, they have a nice knurl on them so that they stay in place while you're bolting this up on the frame, and they knocked them all out. I don't know, we're gonna go put those back in. That's pretty straight. Now, gotta get our bolts knocked back in. If they'll knock in. Yeah, just leave it running because I can always cut this stuff off. Alright, we're gonna put this Pritchell hole to work in the Emble today. Just like factory again. I have no idea why someone did that stuff the hard way. Actually, when I was working on the 88 square body, these bolts weren't pressed in from the factory. That was a real nightmare to try to get those in and out. So I actually welded them to this bracket so I wouldn't have to deal with this kind of stuff. So GM actually got something right. They figured out, hey, let's press these in so that people don't have to fight it. Imagine that. So by the looks of this bolt, it's been cut off or broken off on this strap, the T-bolt here. Definitely not in the best of shape. If we were to try to run a nut up on there anyways, it'd probably just strip it. It's all tore up. I don't have another T-bolt like this that we can put in there, so we're just gonna have to take this thing in the shed and we'll cut this part off and we'll just weld another bolt and nut on there and it'll work just fine. That's not going anywhere. Fix that problem. Just gotta improvise, adapt, and overcome occasionally. Well, the gas tank's back in it. I wouldn't mind just laying down here taking a little nap right now. That thing just about kicked my butt. The old two-post car lift didn't really do us a whole lot of favors neither. I mean, it actually gave some room to get my fat belly under here, but it's quite the wrestling match when the tank has a few gallons of gas left in it. It's not a lot of weight, but when it sloshes around, it's really hard to manage. But we got it in there. Wires are hooked up for the sending unit and the pump. Then the fuel lines are hooked up. Now we just have to hook up the rubber filler neck on the outside, put in 2 more nuts on the frame rail with a wrench because we couldn't get to them with the impact, and that part is done. All right, so for now, we are not going to improve upon this massively over-engineered wiring job here. We're going to stick with the basics and just see if we can get this thing to run. Of course, they had this beauty rigged up here as a ground. I mean, this is high quality stuff right here, folks. You really need to be careful what you're doing, but hey, something works. We got a light going up there. Something is actually headed in our direction, so let's continue to rig this thing. We're going to skin back this grill support wire here. Not sure what it's going to affect, but it's here. We might as well hook it up. And when I said quality, folks, this is what I'm talking about right here. She's been rigged before, but once I know that all this stuff is going to crank and run and things actually work, then I can take a little more time and come back and do this stuff the right way. Get rid of all these goofy adapters and cut back all these frayed wires and get back to some good meat on those wires. We are missing the air cleaner, but for what we're doing, that doesn't matter. So now that we've got our 12-volt storage unit hooked up, ground and positives hooked up, lights working, let's hit the key and see if anything crazy or stupid happens. No dome light, shocker. Do these work? Nothing. Could be missing a fuse. Just turn the old key. Gauges, turn signal. Oh, look at that. The old service engine soon. Let's see what happens. Holy cow, it runs. Are you kidding me? That is impressive. Let's shut the key off so we can turn it back on, and it will prime the fuel system again, because who knows what kind of air and whatever is in those lines from where it was unhooked. Shut our AC off. We don't need that working. It even has oil pressure. Wow. Little bit smoky. Who knows when the last time this thing is ran? Oh my gosh, it's alive. Horn doesn't work. Better get our money back. Definitely got a mist going on. We got some smoke floating around from oil smoke. Smells like old gas too, just crap laying in the tailpipes, but it's alive. Look at that, the old service engine light soon went out. Just got a seatbelt light. Can't believe that still works too. Let's see if we can bring it down to idle and let it purr a little bit. Oh, the windshield wipers are trying to work. Woo. She's smoky. Smells like some old gas too. Throttle body's weak and fuel all over the place. Look at that. That injector's just shooting off the top. No wonder it's running so terrible. Definitely gonna have to rebuild some fuel injectors. That thing is dumping fuel. But hey, it runs. Wow, that's impressive. I can't believe this old turd is running. Rebuild that injector and I'd say it'll run quite a bit better once we do that. So obviously you can't get enough air at idle to go along with that, but I mean, no, you know, hemorrhage leaks anywhere. Wow, impressive. Now we know exactly what we have to do next. We get to rebuild that throttle body. Dang, those still work too. So now that we know this thing runs, we have to see if it drives. Even if it's running terrible, I have to try it. Whoops. I have to feather the throttle a little bit. Drive. Oh man, would you look at that? We are running and driving. Speedo works, brakes actually feel pretty good. Wow, did we just get completely lucky on this thing? Power steering is in-op. Who knows if we're gonna smoke the pump on this test drive. That's probably my luck, but we have to try it. We're just gonna go out the driveway here and get a little bit of temperature in this thing, let it run some. Well, something's wrong with the gas gauge. It says that we have a full tank of gas, and it's not, because it only had a few gallons in it when I hoisted it up in there by myself, so I know that is incorrect. She's alive. We are not firing on all 8. Maybe it was a bad idea to go on a test drive. Barely got this dude turned around. She's about to shut off, but we're almost back to the house here. My inner idiot said, hey, we have to go for a test drive, but not a good idea. We should probably get it running a little better first, but sometimes you just get excited and you have to see how bad things actually run. So that's what we did. Okay, back it. Huh, well, shut itself off. You don't really need the key to shut it off. So that's it for today, guys. The truck's up and running. We've got to do some work on a throttle body. We're gonna go ahead and throw some spark plugs in this thing because I knew they're trashed. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching Junkin' with Junior. Remember, if you liked it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it so they can enjoy some of this junk as well. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.